Okay, welcome to another War of Rights map briefing. This time we are looking at the Bolivar Heights camp. This is not to be confused with the Redoubt, which we'll hopefully get to in another video. But this one is the camp. This is a CSA attacking map. This is one where I can say that both sides have a fair amount of RD. Who is advantaged? I'll just say it's fair because I'm not sure. And it's an interesting one to say the least. So, without any further ado, let's go take a look at the nominal CSA RD, which starts out over here. They start out with a nice 6-gun battery, and it has to shoot. The point of contention is just up and over the berm. That is the Redoubt or the camp that is up there. CSA spawn is here. A lot of times what the CSA will do is they're going to use the cover and concealment of the forest to mask their advance, and they're going to go up. And then right about here, where things start to level out and you stop going up, and you see you're very close to the tents, the CSA have a decision point to make. They can turn right here. You'll see that they'll usually use the tents to obscure some of the line of sight from any Union who might be on their left, and their goal is likely to get themselves embedded in this part of the berm. So that's where they started. You can probably understand why they don't feel like running up the hill in the open, and so they're going to use the field to do that. And what they're going to try to do from here is gradually embed themselves in this berm and then work their way down along this berm. There are a couple places where the berm opens up, and so that is one of those places, and each one of those guns there is movable. Now it's nominal Union artillery, but the CSA may well try to play Grand Theft artillery on this map, particularly with the guns that are down there towards the edge, and they may try to turn them on the Union defenders. And what the Union, the Union is looking to do this, but the CSA is looking to usually embed themselves at least this far in. The point of contention is right over here. Those flags are a good point of reference as to where the cap is. Again, if you really want to know, hit T. Are you defending? Are you capturing? Then that's a good point. The CSA can push further back if they want, and so the Union should realize that. The Union spawn after the initial spawn is not far either. I was just there. I should know this, but I believe it is right over here. I think it's around these rocks. Maybe it's another opening down, but the point is it's not far away. Yeah, this looks more right, and it's a short run to the point from there. So that's frequently what the CSA will do. The benefit of this for the CSA, particularly in pub matches, is that it keeps everybody together, and as the attackers, you're not dying out of line, and this close to the point of contention, you're forcing the Union to come up and make it a heavy skirmish. If they don't do that, you can come on up and over. You can cap the point. You can fall back to the berm, and then you can try some limited engagements there. And then once the Union's close to breaking, you'll try to rush it. I would say that's the way I'm most familiar with playing it, and it's the way I tend to like it the most. The CSA can continue on in these woods and try to push further down. I never really understood why. I mean, you end up coming out of the woods. Eventually, you're going to time out. And again, never trust the spectating. Seems like it's usually, about the extent of how far the CSA can push. But now you're out down here. You got a fence. You got a lot of open ground. It's going to be hard to conceal yourself from anybody who's up on that high ground. And you have a long way to go to get anywhere that matters, right? All these areas out here, you're not in spawn, you're not near the point of contention, and so I fail to see too much profit in that, but sometimes CSA groups will go over there and skirmish. I think if the Union largely ignores them, they'll be okay. Other pushes through the center, I guess if the berm was the right side push and that kind of thing off on the left is a kind of skirmishing left side push, then this row of tents here, that's the point of contention, or those flags are the flags that are near the point of contention. Sometimes the CSA will press down these because it can be difficult to shoot them if they're moving, unless the Union is standing right between those flags, which they frequently are. Some Union are in favor of rolling back a caisson, or sometimes even putting a gun here, chalking it full of canister, but you can maneuver things in such a way that will make it difficult for the CSA to get on cap, or you'll create a choke point more than this already is a kind of natural choke point. Sometimes the CSA also comes down the field side of the tents. I don't know how advisable that is. You're not that far from Union spawn. The Union can hang out back here in a lot of places and shoot you in the side, or if they're already near point, and they likely will be, it's not hard for them to just peek out and to shoot you as you run in. But that is an option the Union needs to be aware of, the defenders need to be aware of. But all in all, as defenders go, like, the point you really got to defend is pretty compact, and it pretty much is the point. A lot of times in pubs, there's a real bloody series of melees to try to wipe the CSA and keep them off this berm, to keep as much of that artillery in Union hands as possible. Sometimes it's a liability for the Union to have too many people go in already. They try to create caisson forts and other things that are easily bypassed just by going down the berm. But I have seen the Union, to better effect, to try to pull up some caissons and guns and make a line back towards point and at least eliminate this as an avenue of attack. And then a lot of times the Union will get themselves embedded down here. They'll take turns standing on the berm, and they'll shoot right down that lane into the CSA who are in that berm. That can... I mean, it's a thing. It's a thing that the Union does to try to hold this point. I think in pubs, this feels like a very heavily favored CSA map. In competitive play, I've won and lost it on both sides many times. It's tricky to do as the Union, but it certainly is doable. And the CSA doesn't have, again, I don't think that anything over here is really a great option. I think that this is a death trap if the CSA try to come down here. And so it really is this lane here and this lane here that ends up being a majority of the fighting. If CSA already are there, they probably have ranges to hit the point, and they can try to airburst it just on top of the berm or just over the point, and they can make that uninhabitable in the late game when the Union has to hang out near point to defend it. So anyways, that's Bolivar Heights camp. It's a fun one. It's a bloody one. It's a lot of close range shooting. The CSA does bring 42s to this fight, and so if you are one of those, I strongly recommend 42s, even though it looks like it's a pretty open and might be a long range map. It's not. It's a close quarters map. You're going to want that Bayo on at all times. Even I want it on at all times, and you want buck and ball loaded if you have the option. So that's Bolivar Heights camp.